What's up, guys? Welcome back. Today, we are going to talk about a swing trade that I'm currently holding. As of right now, up 150%. I have not sold any of the position, and I want to talk through in this video what I do on a daily basis to decide whether I'm going to continue to hold or take some profits or take the position off, right? Every day after that entry point, we need to continue to monitor the position and understand what we need to see to decide whether we are going to hold again overnight and continue to hold that swing trade, or is it time to go ahead and take those profits or that loss, close the position because something has been invalidated. So I think this is something that's very important. It's a good learning lesson to understand how to manage these swing trades. What do we look for on a daily basis to know whether we're going to continue to hold or close the position? As of right now, everything that this stock has shown me to continue to hold, and that is currently what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and dive into the chart, break it down. We'll talk through why I originally entered, why I saw the entry point, and what was the technical reason. And then also over the last few days, what are the things that I have seen to keep me in the position? Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's jump right into it. All right, guys, so the stock that we are talking about today is AMD. And AMD has been a target of mine over the last few weeks as it's been a very strong underperformer, has been consolidating quite a bit, while the other surrounding semiconductor stocks have been very hot. You guys also know that this is another reason I'm still maintaining my NVIDIA swing trade. So we made a video last week about why I think NVIDIA should move higher. I still hold that position as well, and I'll go ahead and pop up on the screen the current position that I'm still holding. I have not sold any of that position. My analysis, I believe, still stands true, so I continue to hold that. But I believe AMD here is a fantastic example in terms of technical levels, why I entered and why I've maintained. And also, it's that same mindset that we talked about in the last video. The comeback stocks that have been sort of underperforming that semiconductor sector, AMD has definitely been one. Now, over the last 4 trading days, we have seen AMD absolutely wake up here. We caught this on last week on Friday. I continue to hold it today, and I'm very interested in further upside. So let me go ahead and now break this down a little bit deeper. We'll dive into some of those shorter-term time frames and really go through where that entry point came from. So, guys, here we have AMD over the last 3 weeks. This is the 1-hour chart, and I want to go ahead and share with you what was the key inflection point that got me interested in considering AMD. Now, this was before I entered. I did not enter here, but this is something that got me interested, and I believe was the true reason why AMD started to move higher. So we can see here over the last 2 to 3 weeks, we have very clearly seen AMD be unable to close above $163 per share. Over the last few weeks, we have seen pushes higher and fails back below that 163. There was not a single day over the last 2 to 3 weeks in this time period. This is back from the 20th of June to around, this is Tuesday of last week, July 2nd. So about a 2-week time period, 2 trading weeks. We saw AMD fail every single time it hit $163 per share, and it never closed above it. So we know that is a major rejection point. And if there is something in the future that shows us that 163 could turn into support, then we need to react, right? We need to be looking to see at what point does that 163 turn into support, and if it does, can we find a potential long entry? And right here on Wednesday of last week, guys, our prayers were answered, right? And we can see right here, that 163 level that we could not close above for almost 2 trading weeks right here was a perfect maintain the entire day on Wednesday of last week. We held over 163 all day. We didn't move much. It was a pretty choppy day. I'll go into the 5-minute chart, right? You can see we did not move much. It was a very choppy day. But what did it do? It went from turning 163 into from rejections into a very clear all-day support. And coming into Friday, and we know Thursday the market was closed, right? Market was closed Thursday. Coming into Friday, this was a top watch for me because I knew if I can get along near that 163 level, I know now that we're turning that into potential support. I can very easily use that as my stop loss. That is the structure behind the trade. That is the game plan. The game plan is 163, previous major rejection point. Wednesday, it turned it into support all day. Now I can use that to build my game plan. I now want to look to long AMD over 163, use it as my stop loss, and look to see if this can create that upside move higher. So that was where we got in early morning on Friday. We started to look for that opportunity. Now, it wasn't until this move that I entered. It was not until here. This is where I went ahead and I entered the position. And that is at 166.50. Now, why did I enter at 166.50? Let's go ahead and go over that right now. So if we zoom into this 1 hour chart again, guys, we can see that after that 163 level, right, we had that 163 rejections and we saw it turn into support. Now the next level, if we continue to look higher, was right here, right? Look at this. See this double top high right here? Double top high and a very clear failure level. So I wasn't willing to go too aggressive yet on 163. I knew I liked that it was holding above it, but there was one last thing I needed to see before I was willing to take my shot. And that was a clear hold over the double top at 166.50. Now, if I go into the 5-minute chart, you are going to see the exact moment that we started to enter this AMD, and I'll go ahead and pop up the entry on the screen for you guys to see with the timestamp on it. Take a look at what AMD did Friday morning. We had a squeeze above 166.50. We pulled back to the 166.50, and we did a perfect break and retest of that previous double top high that we just talked about. And you can see right there, AMD went from turning that 166.50. I'll show you right here. AMD went from turning that 166.50 level right there from a double top rejection into a perfect intraday support. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on it right here, right into a perfect intraday support. Bam, right there. And that is when I went ahead and I entered. Now, that was the entry point, right? Behind technical levels, the 163 hold, the 166.50 hold, that was the reasoning for my entry. Now, what I want to get deeper into is why I continue to hold, why I have continued to maintain, because a lot of people, I believe, have a hard time holding these swing trades. They have a hard time knowing what to do after they enter the position. What am I looking to see to maintain the position? It's the exact same process, guys. We want to continue to see previous rejection points turn into support, previous highs turn into new lows. And as long as that momentum and that structuring higher move continues, we continue to hold. So let's zoom out and let's look at what was the next level that we needed to focus on. So we're going to zoom out here on the hourly chart. We're going to make sure our analysis is from a longer term time frame. And then we're going to zoom in to see how the intraday reacts to that level. So we knew we had 163 and 166.50, right? Those were our first two levels, 163 and 166.50. We did not enter at 163, but we understood that it got above it and held above it. That was key for a bullish flip. Now, the next level was the 166.50, which was that double top high, and that is where we entered. Now, the next level after that entry point is very clearly at $170 per share. So we can see right here, we had, if we zoom out, we had 170, 170, 170, 170, multiple rejections at $170 per share. So that is going to be our next level as a maintain that we want to see to continue to hold the position. We can also see at 170, we also had that daily 100 SMA. So after entering at 166.50, our game plan is, okay, let's look to see if we can get that push into 170. That's step one. If we can it hold above it? If it can, then I will continue to trade the AMD trade. I will continue to hold the long position. If we reject it and we fail below it, then I will consider to potentially take the position off, right? So every time we hit a key level, I'm monitoring and managing the position. So we can see 170 was our next test. That was our major test. We needed to see what would happen at that 170 and that daily 100 SMA. Now, you guys can see in the Discord community where, of course, I sort of update the group with all the positions I'm in. You can see right here, we talked about this on Friday. We said maintaining AMD as long as it's over the 100 daily moving average, right? That was sort of our plan. As long as we're holding over that 100 daily moving average, I'm going to continue to hold. And that was also the 170 level. And you can see that was right here. So if we drop this down into the short-term time frames, this is where we have to do our maintain and our sort of monitoring in the intraday. So we know we have that 170 level from that hourly chart. We know we have that daily 100 SMA right here. That was also a major level. And so what we want to see while we're in that swing trade is, are we closing above it? If the answer to that is yes, then maintain the position. If the answer to that is no, and we ended up failing that on Friday, then I probably would not have held this position, right? If I saw this fail at that 170, if I saw us push higher, sort of reject and move right back lower, then I'd probably be a little bit less confident. I'd say, hey, I don't really like that 170 failure. I really wanted to see it get over and hold above. That's what I needed to see to feel confident. And so what ended up happening on Friday? You guys can see right here, we got over the 170, we pulled back, and look at the hold right there, intraday on Friday, and the continuation to the upside. So I saw Friday at close right here that we were maintaining above 170 and maintaining over that 100 SMA. And for those reasons, I maintained the position. So what's next, right? What's next? We continue to do this until something breaks. Let's continue to look for higher levels. Let's continue to see if they maintain. So we see on Friday, 174, right? That's where the rejection came in. Now, why did it reject there? Why did AMD reject 174? Well, that is 100% explainable through technical levels. So we go out to the hourly chart again, and we zoom out. Let's take a look at this 174 level. Right here, you can see that the past rejection point was right there at $174 per share. That was a very tough level in the past for AMD. That's where that failure came in. And we can also see that that is where Friday we had a very clear rejection. Right here, we had a Friday rejection at 174. So I knew coming into today, which is where we're trading right now, if we did not get over 174 and we saw failures at that level, then I would expect AMD to trade back to 170, right? And that would be my new exit point. So if we do fail that 174, right, I knew there was a Friday rejection, and I knew that was a previous rejection point. If we came into today and we dropped under 174 and started failing, I would consider taking that position off. You can either say to yourself, all right, I don't like that we failed that 174. I'm going to go ahead and take my profits. Or what you could do in this position, depending on how comfortable and how confident you want to stay in this position, or how much patience you have, you can use that next level lower to say that that's your stop loss, right? So what we could do in this situation is say, all right, I know 174 is a rejection point, right? That's very common. That's very clear. Now, if I see AMD fail that level, I will give it to that next 170 demand. That'll be my ultimate stop loss, right? That'll be where I take my swing trade off. And so that is what I would have done today if we didn't hold above 174. So why am I still holding AMD, guys, as we make this video? Well, it did exactly what we talked about. We had that 174 rejection, and look at what AMD did all day today. We maintained above the previous highs from Friday. We maintained above 174. And this right here is that next stair step, that next level that is turning from a rejection point into a support. And that is why there is absolutely no reason in my mind to take this position off. So at this point, what am I going to be looking for, right? At this point, as long as AMD is over 174, I continue to maintain the position. If we pull back under 174, then we potentially have to take that trade off, right? Because a break under 174 would be a break back under Friday's highs, and it would be a break back under today's lows, right? So in the future, we do not want to see AMD fail that level. If it breaks under 174, this trade is over, the momentum is lost, the stair stepping is no longer there, the higher highs and higher lows are no longer valid, and we need to take the position off. Now, there is another component to this that is a little bit more advanced, right? And something you need to understand if you are trading options, and that is expiration, right? So today's Monday. My expiration on this contract is Friday. So I really do not have that liberty to just hold this position blindly, right? So at some point, I'm going to have to make that executive decision to either take my profits, right, before expiration gets too close, or I can go ahead and roll the contracts out to the next week if I continue to like what these technicals are doing and we're holding 174 and we continue to hold. Maybe tomorrow we hold above the 178 rejection that's coming in today. If that continues, I can, one, decide to roll my contracts out for more time and let the move continue, or I can make that executive decision to just say, okay, my target has been hit and it's time to take the position off. So my target on this trade, and I'll show you right now where that target is, right? It's right here at $184 per share. My target for this AMD swing trade is these highs right here on the 4-hour chart. That is where I believe AMD can reach to, which is right here at 184. So if we hit that 184 before my option expiration, what I'll probably do is start to scale off or just take off the position and accept that my target has been hit, right? I do not have forever to hold this contract because of expiration. I can either roll it out to try to give this more time to hit that 184 as long as we maintain my 174, right? As long as we maintain my 174, maybe I want a little bit more time for AMD to consolidate before hitting that 184, right? Because if I have Friday contracts, I needed to hit that 184 to hit my target before my options expire. If I still believe AMD's in a good scenario and could still move up to that level, what I can do is get more time. So there's some things we have to consider, of course, with options. It's different if you just had some shares here. You can hold those forever. But with options, we do need to make some of those short-term executive decisions to when to take those profits off if things start to subdue, stay sideways, right? Start to decay a little bit in terms of time decay. But for now, it's very clear every technical level has been held, and I still have plenty of time on these contracts. The expiration is Friday. I'll be comfortable holding these till around Wednesday. When Wednesday hit, I'll be looking to maybe get some more time or take the contract off. I don't like to hold these contracts on the Thursday and Friday of expiration. It's a little bit too close unless I'm deep in the money at the time that I'm currently holding the position. So right now, I'm up nicely on AMD. We held above that 163. We talked about that. We held above the 166.50. We held above the 170. We're holding above the 174, right? And so we basically just stair-stepped higher the entire last 2 trading days, which has helped me maintain this position, using my technical levels as guides to hold the position. As long as we hold above those levels, I hold the position. No more, right? Important to keep that process simple. It's very simple. If it's above 174, I'm in AMD. If it breaks back below 174, I'm taking the trade off. That's it. The least amount of decisions possible is typically better. Keep it simple. Use that technical level to guide your trade. And so right now, you guys know, as we talked about, I'm in AMD. And as long as it's over this 174 right here, I'm holding into tomorrow. Now, the last thing I'll note real quick, I know this video is getting long. The last thing I'll note is I do that same analysis on the overall market to get to get an idea of what I think the market can do. So coming into today, if you were part of the pre-market live stream, I told the group that as long as we're above this 20,575 level on the NASDAQ futures, that I want to hold longs. And the NASDAQ has done exactly that today, so I continue to hold longs. If the NASDAQ today was to break under my key demand level that I'm playing off of and reject, then I would flip my bias and I would understand that longs are probably not as valid. I have to make these decisions every day I come into the market to know whether I should hold or I should ditch the position. I hope this video helps you. If it does, make sure to press that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you want to trade live with me on a daily basis and hear this analysis live, right? We're not just day trading in the Discord community. We're not just taking trades. We're running through analysis. We're running through thoughts intraday. We're running through what needs to hold. What are the key levels to maintain, right? We're doing a market analysis all morning. If you want to be a part of that, make sure to check out the link down below. Press that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.